There was no indictment yesterday in the case against the police officer who shot Michael Brown. What is your opinion about this result?
I think it's unfair because there's several cases like this that continuously just get unsolved. And there's no justice for the families.
Honestly, I expected it. Every year or so, sometimes multiple times a year, another innocent minority or a minority who is unarmed is shot or killed by police or someone who is of the majority.
There was not only police neglect, there was police cover-up. There was no acknowledgement in the total media about the rampant misabuse of power.
It's very sad how much prejudice there still is in this country against black people. And at least you could have gotten a fine, right, for killing someone. It's just so atrocious and so obvious.
My view is, the jury deliberated, right? That's how you say it. And they came up, from what I heard, you had conflicting testimonies from witnesses. Some witnesses said one thing, another witnesses said another thing. So they based it on the evidence and the people's testimony. So they couldn't indict. That was the process. So.
It's very scary that it happened again. I think there were so many cases, and I'm afraid that it's becoming a racial issue again. And above all this, me as a person of color, I'm also afraid that it might happen to me.
Police brutality, how big of a problem do you think it is?
I think it is a big problem. I live in Brooklyn in New York, and fortunately, I am cleaner and I have a job, so I've never been stopped. But in so many cases, because you're profiled racially, I think it's still a big problem. Yeah.
A huge problem. And it's a huge problem, particularly in an urban city like that, but it also exists in places where there is no monitoring.
No, I don't know if it's a problem you can say it's across the board. It's from cop to cop and, police officer to police officer.
Unfortunately, it's a big problem in this country. I think violence is a big problem in this country, and I think it's fed largely by the media. So many of our movies are very violent, and sort of the male stereotype in America is a fairly violent, sort of a hero type.
It's all over. Just another guy got shot in Brooklyn by mistake. Police brutality is bad. But not all the cops are that bad.
You personally, are you experiencing racism in your personal life?
Yes and no. I think yes, just because racism is a system. It's not merely someone calling you a racial epithet. It's a system that we live in. No, in the sense of I try not to let those things hold me back.
I was living in the Midwest, and the people in the Midwest, they really racist. White people against me, Puerto Rican, calling me foreigner. What's that? That sounds racist to me. But I don't look at it like that. Everybody bleed the same color, so I don't believe in racists. Everybody's human being.
There was a day where I was pushed by a cop once, and it was because I had my back turned towards the cop, and because I didn't show him my face, he pushed me, and there was no reason for it.
As white people, we can't quite imagine how much privilege we automatically have and how big of a hurdle they have to deal with before just in the way they're commonly perceived.
Even as a working person in America, I feel terrified. I would like to know how to change the world now. What do you suggest?